welcome back to my channel. As you can clearly see, this is a different kind of video than usual. We are not storing any photo cards today, which is my normal content, and it's almost the only thing that I do. Today I'm going to show you how I host my group orders, and I'm not sure how this intro will look like because I'm currently only recording the audio, so if it sounds weird or different, that's why. I've been wanting to film this video for so long, and I've been putting it off because I knew it was going to be a lot of work. I actually did start filming it last year, or the year before that, around Kill My Doubt era for itzy. But then I decided halfway through editing that I didn't want to continue. So let's see if this will actually be uploaded someday. Like I said, I'm gonna walk you through how I host my group orders. This is gonna be like a small series. It will definitely have 2 parts, maybe 3 parts. I haven't decided on that yet. But this first part will cover what I go through, the process that I go through before the albums/the items have arrived at my place. I made a script for this video. I'm gonna be completely honest, like always. I made a script for it. It's like 2,600 words long. So if I sound a bit weird or like I'm just reading something out loud, I try to not do that, but that's what I'm basically doing. So I say that as if I've not been going off script for the past minute and a half. So yes, I'll try to go through all of these steps as detailed as I can. I do have to say that these steps may differ per group order manager, as there's no correct or perfect way to do this. This is just the way that I'm doing it, and it's the way that I've been perfecting, quote unquote, perfecting over the past years. But I know there are definitely some parts that are lacking in my process. And I just want to say that if you have any bit of advice or tips or anything for any starting or already existing group order manager, you can drop them below. I would love for this video to become like a safe space for like new group order managers, but also for those that are already doing this for a while but are stuck on something. Let's just make this a safe space. Okay, so like I said, I'll be showing you my process for my group orders, and I will be using the itzy gold era for that. All of these are fairly big group orders, meaning there are a lot of albums per group order. I want to make it very clear that I did not start out like that when I wanted to try out being a group order manager, which was in February of 2021. I will go into a bit of history about my group order manager journey, so if you don't want to listen to that, which is understandable, I will probably have some timestamps in the description to show you where you can move in the video to a more interesting part of the video. That's totally fine, no hard feelings. So I started in February of 2021. I started with hosting a split set for the twice Eyes Wide Open monograph. I hosted for just one set, and it was photo cards only, so it was a good way to try it out. Finding joiners was difficult in the beginning, but since I had already made quite some friends, plus some pros because of trading and selling, it went better and better. And after this, I hosted for a few photo card sets from both Instagram sellers as well as from Neokyo. Eventually, I started with my first album group orders, the first one being for the itzy Gazoo albums, which wasn't for any photo card events like we know them now. It was just the albums. I didn't start doing member claims in my group orders until November of 2021 with Itzy's Crazy in Love with Drama video call event. Like, with just that sentence, you already know how long ago it was, because with Drama, which is now with Mew, yes. The first time I actually started hosting quite a lot of group orders at the same time was during Kepler's debut album at the end of 2021. Their debut was at 2022, but they started dropping the pre-orders. But you get me. I am yapping. I'm a professional yapper, I'm sorry. So I host for all of the Korean stores for the Kepler comeback, and during these group orders I really learned the most, in my opinion. Also, mind you, I didn't use a Korean address at this point, so all of the albums were just being sent to my home address, which my parents weren't too happy about, which was fair. I get that. At that point, I offered both the album and inclusions only options for these group orders, but because I had no Korean address to take the inclusions out for me, I had to do that by myself. And I'm currently still strumming in my Kepler's first Impact albums. Please learn from that, don't be like me. Other than that, I really did enjoy hosting group orders. I enjoyed it so much that I started opening a lot of group orders for different groups, for both boy groups and girl groups. I really liked doing that for a while, and some groups I've hosted for over the years were itzy, like obviously, Kepler, super surprising, but also Ive, Purpkiss, Stacy, Treasure, The Boys, Billy, MX, WJSN, whatever. I also did I also still did the occasional Neo Geo set here and there. Because of my work schedule and me quitting my studies, I had a lot of free time, so I could work on my group orders a lot. Looking back at it now, I really liked the time, mainly because my group orders distracted me from everything going on in my head because of my studies, quitting those and the consequences of quitting my studies. Sorry, that was a little side note. You always get all of the details when you're talking to me, which you're not. You're just listening. I'm sorry. Okay, so this went on for a few years, hosting these group orders for multiple groups, and not really restricting myself in that aspect. I did, however, try to limit myself so I wouldn't have like a bazillion group orders going on at the same time. Like you all probably already know, if you've been here before, like I say this almost every video, but itzy is my old group. I've loved them for years, and it's actually mainly because of them that I started hosting group orders. There weren't a lot of itzy group order managers in Europe in the early years, but when I finally found one, Rujin, my bias, would always be taken already. I was already aware she was a popular member, but it started to annoy me a lot. So basically, Rujin is the reason that I'm a group order manager, and I am not ashamed to admit that. Because of this, itzy is obviously my main priority. So with every itzy comeback, I would mainly focus on them, trying to host as much as possible. Checkmate was the first era I wanted to host for everything, but my vacation plans made it very difficult for me to stay on track, so I had to accept defeat. And I started joining ghosts from other group order managers during this era. During Cheshire era, I did manage to host for all Korean stores, and I felt super accomplished and proud of myself that I was able to do that, since it was one of my bigger group order manager goals. Kill My Doubt era is like a black page in my group order manager history, and if you were there, you know. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, I'm gonna tell you now. This is mainly because we had so many Soundwave Lucky Draw rounds, and it was actually crazy. I decided to cut the era short since I really couldn't keep up with it at all. If you want to be shocked, look up a pre-order benefit template for any itzy member during the Kill My Doubt era, because it's actually crazy. We went up to round 26 for the Soundwave Lucky Draws. Let's not talk about that. Born to Be was another successful group order manager era for me. I managed to host for almost all Korean stores, and luckily there weren't as much pre-order cards this era because the Born to Be tour was about to begin. So during these times, I've opened goes for a handful of other groups, but my main focus was on itzy. I realized I really enjoyed hosting for itzy the most, so that's what I'm sticking with right now. There are still a few groups I like to host for currently, like Triple S and Isna, but there are on lower scale than my itzy goes, which is a personal choice. I'm so sorry, this part was so long. When I was writing my script, I couldn't stop typing, and well, like I said, I'm a professional yapper, and this is what you signed up for when you clicked on this video, so sorry, not sorry. So after talking for about 10 minutes, we should actually get into the process part, because that's why you're here. So I tried to write this out as the best way as possible. So let's see how it's gonna be. So step one. For this one, we're gonna go back in time. A few weeks ago, itzy dropped their comeback announcement. After the original excitement finally settled down a bit, I knew they would drop the pre-orders events soon after the announcements, and they did, because they do that every single era. I get my information from X, which I still prefer to call Twitter, because that's an old habit, I guess. Since everything is always posted on there. The official itzy account always retweets the pre-order events / the events in general, so that's perfect. I'll look into the info like price per album, deadline per shop, Are there any additional benefits if you order in sets, which for this era there were. Every bit of info I noted down in my notes app on my phone, and once I had the overview of all of the pre-order events, I sent this info to both my fixed joiners chat and my pre-claim chat on Instagram. This last part is optional. This depends on if you want to host for fixed joiners and if you want to have a pre-claim chat. The next step is like a step 1.5 because it's kind of a continuation of the last step. Because then I start working on my group order post, which I make on Canva. I know there are a lot of different kind of editing apps out there. I like Canva, it's easy. I have a pro account on there, but that's also a personal choice. You definitely don't need that. It took me a while, but I finally found a Go post setup that I liked and that I can use for all of my group orders, for different groups as well. This is also a personal choice, like I said. Everyone does this differently, but I like my feed to be as uniform as possible, and if my posts look similar, people will start recognizing them as mine, which could also be helpful for keeping your same joiners every comeback. You can play around with designs and layouts that you like. It has to work for you. I'd really appreciate it if you wouldn't just copy either mine or someone else's, since we all work hard on our designs. On these group order posts, I write the most important info like group name, shop preview, if there is one, because for the itzy gold era, there weren't any previews for the pre-order cards, which was so annoying, but not the point. I also add the price per album / claim, and that's about all of the information that I put on the post. Everything else, like the deadline, extra information, availability, I'll put that in the caption. And these Go posts will be posted on my page once most people in my pre-claim chat have had the time to claim what they want. This time can be different. It all depends on when the event is announced, what the deadline is, what my schedule is that day, on and on and on. So for step 2, after the past few steps, a few days have passed and I've gotten a few more claims, then I make the chat so I can ask for the first payment, which is just for the items and the shipping to my Korean address. For this era, I've decided to make one group chat per group order, while during the last itzy era, I actually made one big group chat where I kept on adding the new group orders in and also the new group order joiners into. Because if there's one thing that I hate, it's making group order chats on Instagram. But I also felt that this was too confusing for the joiners, so I decided to sacrifice myself for my joiners, which is kind of a recurring theme for most group order managers, at least in my experience and what I've seen from my group order managers' friends. So once you've done that, make sure to set a deadline where you can still order the albums with some extra room for potential errors. Sadly, this isn't always possible, especially further into the comeback, when most of the times the deadline for the store is 2 days after they announce the event. But when it is possible, please give yourself some breathing room. Once the payment deadline has passed and everyone has paid, you can order the items. For some Korean shops, you can do it yourself, for example with Mixstar, Getting View, Music Blend, and Lunar Media. For others like Soundwave, JYP Shop, and Vipmew, I'll have to ask my Korean address to buy the albums for me. I use K-Friday as my Korean address and I really like their services. This is not sponsored, but K-Friday, if you want to sponsor me, you can hit me up on my Instagram. And every time a new event is announced, I'll go through these past few steps and just do that again. Then we have step 3. And when everything is ordered, the waiting game starts. Most of the preparation work is now done and we'll just wait until stuff starts arriving at my Korean address. I'll keep track of the packages on this Notion page as well, which is easily accessible for my group order joiners. So after that, we fast forward a few weeks and it's now currently comeback day. On this day, most pre-order sites start shipping their orders. So the following days, a lot of packages will be arriving at my Korean address. For the ones that I've ordered myself, I have to fill out the information for the custom declarations, and the ones that were ordered by my Korean address, I have that already filled out. Once quite some stuff have arrived, I will look into how many physical albums were claimed, so I'll know how many albums need to be opened by my Korean address for just the inclusions. This time there were a lot of albums in total, so I really needed to double check my calculations multiple times, just to be sure it was correct. I am so scared that I will make a mistake and then some people that wanted albums, that then they can't have the albums because I messed up with with the calculations. So yes, but after I've double checked it, I filled out the inclusions forms, and then I waited until it was all finished. Then we have step 4. When the inclusions request has finished, I'll check to see which packages have arrived at my green address and which I want to have sent to me. While I'm writing the script, I've actually just now filled out the forwarding form. I've added all of the itzy pre-order events and the mixer rounds up until round 6, as well as the special edition albums. This is a lot of items, so I am 100% sure they have split it up into multiple packages. Once my green address has packed everything, they send me the EMS total. And this next part is also something I strongly dislike, maybe even more than making Instagram chats. And that's calculating EMS per item, and after that calculating EMS per joiner. With this amount of group orders, I'll have a lot of group order joiners, which results in a lot of calculating. I used to love maths when I was in school, but this I truly dislike. But when I finish with that, I'll make another big Instagram group chat, yay, for the EMS payment. This is where I'll add all of the group order joiners from which the items are in the boxes. I'll give them a deadline for the EMS payment, and once the deadline has passed and all of the payments are in, I'll pay my green address so they can send it out. Friday is always so fast with shipping once you've paid, which is perfect. In my experiences, they ship the next day after I send the money. Step 5. Once the packages are on the way, I'll start making the sorting forms. There are quite some album versions in these boxes. So I have a different sorting form for each version. These will be sent in the EMS chat as well. Normally I'll ask them to fill them out before the box arrives at my place, so I can start opening and sorting everything ASAP. With these boxes, I'll have to take my time because of the amounts that's in there. I do have a winter break for the first time since college, so about 4 years. So I'm planning on sorting and packing a lot then. I'll be filming that too, of course. It will be a next part, and it will be a different kind of video than this. It will be more like showing you. Right now I am telling you a lot, but that will be more vlog style maybe, kinda, I think. I don't know yet, but not like this. I promise you, not like this. I don't think I want to do this again. I do think that I just explained everything. These were all the steps that I do before the packages actually reach me. And this script being like 2,600 words long is actually crazy. I know I didn't have to talk about my group order manager history, and if you skip that, like I said, it's totally understandable. But I feel like it helps you understand how to start out as a beginning group order manager, and it hopefully makes it less daunting. The goal of this little series is so people can see how much work running group orders actually is. It's not just opening albums and sorting these items and then packing everything. There's a lot of extra work that no one seems to talk about, only because it's not the fun side of this hobby. I don't want to scare anyone away with this video, but please know that being a group order manager isn't for everyone. You have to sacrifice a lot of your free time because next to everything I've just told you, you are also your own customer service. People will DM you with questions about everything, questions related to your group orders, but also questions related to the items that you're hosting for. Most of the times they expect group order managers to know everything about what they're hosting for, even facts that aren't released yet. Group order managers are still people like you and me who decided to do a little bit more in the K-pop collecting community, but 99% of the time we don't know more than you, but we will always try our best to answer the questions. And with that, I'm going to end the video now. I've been rambling for way too long, I'm sorry. If you're still here, thank you so much. I love you from the bottom of my heart. If you're a new group order manager and you have any questions, you can drop them either here in the comments, or you can always DM me on my Instagram at... This is the first time I'm gonna say my username, like, on a video. At Cherujisu. I'll put it on the screen. I don't even know how to pronounce my own username. If you're still here, please drop a crown emoji for the itzy girls. And that was it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you next time. Bye!